Welcome to the Au Jus. I'm your host, Beef Loaf. This show is being sponsored by our friends, Punky's Pizza and Pasta, located at 2600 South Wallace, my personal favorite eatery in the neighborhood. They have the best selections of pizzas and pastas, as well as sandwiches and salads, any spot in Bridgeport. Currently, they have what they are calling the Pizza Happy Hour, Mondays and Tuesdays only, between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. You order a pizza from Punky's, and you get 50% off. Yes, you heard that correctly. 50% off of pizzas ordered Mondays and Tuesdays between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. How in the world can you get 50% off the best pizza in Bridgeport? The Pizza Happy Hour. Hit the website, punkyspizza.com, for all your carry-out delivery needs or to cater your next party. And catering's big around the holidays, so get in there. You can also call 312-842-2100. The Scarlotta family will take care of you. Punky's Pizza and Pasta. This show is also powered by you, loyal one-way supporter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to tickle the undercarriage in the process. Like, comment, turn on notifications, and most definitely super chat, because that's how we get paid. That's how we continue to make the content you know and love. Tonight's guest. He's a longtime contributor for Stocks on Tap, which is part of the On Tap Sports Network. He's a fake prospect expert hater and also very comfortable looking like Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, in public. The artist formerly known as Stocks Insane. BZ, welcome back to the Au Jus, my friend. How you been?
I'm good, man. I need to get you a different picture, though.
What do you mean? This is a classic. I saved it from the last time because I have certain people's guest pictures that I save because I love them so much. Like I have a handful of different people that I keep this one. So like, yeah, I'm sure this was you on an infomercial 15 years ago. I don't give a fuck. I love that one. Okay.
Hey, fair enough.
How you been, my friend? Everything good? Everything good over there?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. I haven't had a lot of time for the blogging lately with the new job and everything. It's keeping me so busy that about 2 hours ago, I realized I hadn't eaten anything all day.
Oh shit!
So it's been like that for a few months, but otherwise life is good, man. How are you?
Oh, terrific! I have been eating so much, BZ, that Mondays are my day where I don't eat anything because I told Mrs. Beef, I said I'm getting so humongous and fat. I need to just pick a day of the week and say your fat ass is eating nothing today. So no food, no booze. I have the Diet Pepsi on the side here in case people want to buy a drink at some point. But yeah, I'm off it. I just can't like. At some point, you have to say when, and I'm one of these guys, who just I can keep going and going with stuff. I'll drink all night, eat all night, whatever. I gotta tell myself to give a little stop. So that's what I decided to do. And you said you haven't been blogging lately, but it doesn't fucking matter because you wrote a blog on Halloween that is prevalent actually right goddamn now, and that was about the White Sox potentially finding a fit for their blueprint in Anthony Kay. Why is that the case? Why did you think bringing Anthony Kay into the White Sox rotation could be a fit for this group?
Obviously there's the whole Fetty blueprint there of bringing that guy over and having him pitch well on a low, cheap deal where, the big dogs in the market, the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets aren't really playing with those guys. And because I have 3 little kids who wake me up at ungodly early hours, there's nothing on TV, so I'm like, you know what, baseball's on in Japan. I don't know what it was, but I found this app where I could watch the games, and there were some players like Franmil Reyes is playing and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I'm like I'll watch this for like an hour while I'm drinking my coffee, and then it's like Anthony Kay, and he kept coming up. You read into him a little bit and see what he's had going on, and once I saw that he wanted to come back, because some of these guys end up being pretty happy there. They're making good money. They're dominating, and they end up staying. But now they're starting to come back. So, he plays in that market of where the Sox are at. 2 years, $5 million a year plus the $2 million option in year 3. That's kind of the sweet spot for them. So I wanted him, and I wanted a guy specifically who can pitch some innings, and he tossed 155 last year. That was something that was important there too. So all of those reasons there.
Now, what are the changes he made? A lot of times guys go over there and the performance will just improve, but sometimes guys go over there and the performance doesn't improve that much, and then they make a repertoire change. Like I think that was the case here with Anthony Kay. He had the first year he was over there in Japan. He had kind of an average year, and then he made some changes. What did he do, Bez, that was different? That he made a change?
Yeah, he brought in a 2-seam fastball. That was the biggest thing. And he went on Robert Murray's podcast and talked a little bit about like the strike zone in Japan and how it's more of like a rectangle as opposed to a square. So you're not getting high strikes. So after his first year, he was kind of humbled a little bit because he kind of went in there like, you know, a little cocky. And
he's feeling himself. And he's like, whatever. I wasn't that good.
Right. I'm going to dominate this place. But he had to start thinking about pitching down and down and down because you're not going to get that high strike. So he brought in a 2-seamer and he's getting a ton of ground balls off of it. He's got actually a 6-pitch mix. Curveball's kind of a work in progress. So I don't know if he'll be featuring 6 pitches, but he's getting a ton of ground balls and his sliders become a pretty good put away pitch to kind of play off of the 2-seamer. So nice little repertoire coming in, but you know, there's some context that needs to be taken into account because they're only pitching once a week there. It's not every 5 days.
Right. Yes.
Even Fetty said last year, or that in 2024, that second half of the year, he kind of started to feel it. And the numbers kind of showed that the difference there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you brought up the 6-pitch mix because I'm trying to count how many pitches I even know exist. And I was like, what does this guy got? The KY ball, like Eddie Harris? What the, he's got to rub a little he got a little jalapeno in his nose to get it running. Like I don't know what he's got going on there, but I love to hear the idea of a total like kitchen sink concept here. But you're right. I heard about the 2-seamer, so he's getting the guys to pound the ball into the ground, which is perfect. The guaranteed rate field, that's what you want to do, especially in the summer when it's hot and the ball flies out of there. I heard he's been using the cutter a lot more. So, but you know, Coop doesn't even need to fix him. You don't got to bring Coop back to fix him.
You already got the cutter.
The entire repertoire. It's got it going. Let's get to this drink real quick here from Trey. My man, Trey. Trey says, breaking, Sox workout, Big Poppy, and Tim Lincecum. Timmy Lincecum. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks, Trey.
Now, BZ, you mentioned Eric Fetty. What are the kind of the similarities and differences from the Fetty deal? The White Sox went in the offseason after the 2023 season and went and signed Eric Fetty, who had been pitching in the Far East, been pitching in Korea, and brought him back to the U.S. Similarly, 2 years later, they go and get Anthony Kay. What do you see as the similarities and differences between the two?
Fetty actually stuck around in the big leagues for longer. Anthony Kay, he did have some injury-plagued years in the minors. Never, he was a starter, never really got a whole lot of runway as a starter. Eventually went to a relief role, didn't cut it there before he went overseas. So, the difference there to me is just the fact that one, you have a lefty and a guy that got 155 innings last year. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was above 134 the year before. And the NPB is just a tougher league than the KBO.
Yeah.
It's more competitive. You got guys that are you got more and more guys, it seems like, that are coming over here and playing really well. So, I mean, that to me, I feel like is more encouraging for his prospects. But I think that's the biggest difference. And, some of the similarities are obvious. It's, washed out here, went over there, reinvented himself. It makes you wonder though, like, why couldn't they just do that in AA or AAA? Like, why did you have to travel to another country? But it is what it is, and it's working out for a lot of these guys. And the Tigers just signed a guy for $7 million out of the same thing. Is it Drew Anderson? Either way.
Yeah, I see this trending more as more and more go there. And maybe it's pay, maybe it's the quality of competition. Like, if we're going to try this out and make it actually work, in some minor league, maybe it's not as dependable. Maybe they think, okay, it's better if you can do it against other professionals and kind of really show it or have the time. I'm not sure. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to. But it is intriguing that the White Sox have gone to this well twice in a row. I wonder how long they can keep going to it. As the team gets better, I wonder how often they'll keep going in that direction and getting the retread starter. But when looking at Anthony Kay, I got a multiple choice for you, BZ, and this is specifically about Anthony Kay. At the end of the 2026 season, Anthony Kay will be A, in a different uniform, B, a top 3 starter for the White Sox, or C, out of the rotation completely, which is most likely in your opinion.
I would say I don't feel confident about it, but I would place a small bet that he is on another team. and he gets traded at the deadline. I think he'll be pretty solid pitching out of the rotation. You know, a number 4, maybe number 3 if we're lucky starter. And that's kind of where the projections like Steamer has him at. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for him. Although, you know, it was interesting with Getz at the deadline last year. You know, he kind of held firm on his price with Robert and with Talkman, 2 guys that, you know, a lot of people thought were going to get traded. So if people don't meet his price, he seems like he's just, I'm just going to keep this guy. So, but if I had to place a bet, it's going to be that he's playing for another team.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that would be the favorite too. I've noticed that the Getz group has been hedging a lot towards the beginning of this season. With this signing right here as a potential guy to trade. When they were looking at Rule 5 protections, which we'll talk about in a little bit, they went with Duncan David, who looks like a lot of the other fifth starters down there in the minor leagues, but he's healthy. He might actually be able to pitch in the first half of the season. And I wonder how much they're really hedging, like, man, we just don't have a lot of depth. We got to make sure we fill this kind of thing in. And especially a guy coming over that goes 155 innings in last season. I see that too, but I don't see it as a long-term thing. I'm with you. I feel like this is just a little patch that they think there's value here. They think there's a potential to trade him off. And like at the time it was bagged, but if they do as well as they did in the Eric Fetty trade with him, I will be impressed. I would be really thrilled about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you want this to be real and not just like Fetty was just this lucky accident. So that's the thing we want to find out more than anything with a lot of these guys. So
no question about it, man. Have the Sox found a market arbitrage with doing this, or are they just like in a rare spot of being able to shop in this subset right now because of the way the team is? And I'm specifically talking about bounce back starting pitchers from across the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. I think they have, because you just saw, you know, the Tigers pick up a guy to try to do the same thing, and they're a contender. They had one spot open on their 40-man roster, unlike us who have like 5 spots open and like 7 guys without options. So like the teams that are more competitive are looking like they're starting to catch on, and just kind of like observing what goes on and seeing if this market is like actually real before they actually start to pounce, and then the White Sox will have to figure out something else.
I love it. Because I like to think of them, you know, hitting those small edges, even if, you're not there or whatever, you don't have money to spend, but figure out some angle that's going to be successful. Let me get to a couple questions here from the comments, both from Trey. First off, Trey says, why is Beef wearing a beanie? Dude, you're not 22. I'm 47. I'll wear a fucking beanie if I want in my basement, Trey, all right? Piss off, all right? This is what I look like when I'm not out doing stuff, when I'm at home, or I'm not looking like a jagaloon in the stands. I have a beanie on during the winter, and I'm sitting around, all right? Just take it easy. Yeah. Second question from Trey, and this one is for you, Bez. It says, Bez the kind of dude I'll read his tweet one day, think he's the smartest guy ever, and the next despise him. Why do you bring that out in people, Bez? Why do people, you piss them off so much?
I think I probably do a little bit of trolling.
Tiny bit.
So I'm sorry, Trey. I appreciate the first part is saying they're the smartest guy ever. I've been called one of the most fun bad tweeters out there. So this all tracks. So yeah, that's my take on that, man. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I've got to amuse myself sometimes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm sorry that you did not win that award.
I would have had some free punkies.
So. You would have had free punkies. Someone else ended up with that. I want to talk a little bit about Luis Robert Jr. I saw a dear friend of the show, actually not friend of this show, friend of the 108 podcast, Jeff Passan. He and Kylie McDaniel put out an article in which they rated the top 25 available trade targets heading into this winter. And they had Luis Robert Jr. Number 21 on their trade targets list, but they put him at a whopping 60% chance of getting traded. BZ, is it time we ignore the Big J journals when they're trying to understand probabilities? Or do you think my guy Jeff Passan is correct? Like, it is more than likely a coin flip that this man is traded before the season starts?
I don't know. I give it less than a coin flip. I give it less than 50-50. I don't think he's going anywhere in the offseason. You know, the same thing happened last year. He had kind of a down year. He got hurt again. I don't know that there's anything he can do in spring training that's going to be like make people pay up or make people see something different.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's pretty low that he gets traded in the offseason. Honestly, I'm getting to the point, dude, where just trade him so we can stop fucking talking about this. We've been talking about trading Robert for like 2 years, dude.
I personally crack up as someone who is in accounting and finance, who is dealing with numbers all goddamn day for the last 30 years of my life. When I understand when I write a blog, if one of the big J journals looked at it, they're like, this is a piece of shit. Punctuation's wrong. Run-on sentences terrible, right? And that's fine. I would be fine with that. That's how I feel when they're trying to get probabilistic stuff. I think it's total piece of shit. Like I was looking at this thing, I was like, there's no fucking way you thought it's more likely that he gets traded this offseason than not. When at the deadline, a bunch of teams could have used him. He was cheaper and he was playing pretty well, and no one bought him. I said, no, we're not. All of a sudden, these conditions are changing. It surprised me to see, and especially from passing. I want to blame Kylie McDaniel, but he seems smarter than Jeff. I don't know offense to Jeff. Kylie McDaniel strikes me as smarter than Jeff. Jeff's handsome. He's charismatic. Maybe he's not that smart. I don't know. I'm just it's surprising,
Maybe with the really long hair meme, he's definitely not handsome. You could tell him I said that.
Let him know. I'm not sure. Let him know. Now, BC, do you think the White Sox are building a roster that can actually withstand a Robert trade, especially this early in the season? Because, like, you trade him, like like you mentioned, we are tired of Luis Robert talk in general.
Yeah,
but he's also like a competent center fielder, and has some power, whatever. You think they're built right to move on from him, or no?
Well, I guess you've got just Derek Hill really as your center fielder. So I guess if he's playing the Michael A. Taylor role of last year, they brought in Michael A. to be the backup center fielder in case Robert gets hurt or in case Robert gets traded. So,
yep.
So you might be covered there. If it happens earlier than the trade deadline, maybe Braden Montgomery's ready, and you've got the outfield covered, and you've got your boy White Leary who can play all three outfield positions.
Trey is out there. Brooks Baldwin, center field nation.
Yeah, they are.
I think he's probably best in center field because there's too much stuff to screw up in the corner outfield. Just run real fast and go catch it, Brooks. Like he doesn't. I don't say this about a lot of players, but he strikes me as a guy who will mess some stuff up. But if he just his assignment is just like run real fast and get it, I think he can probably handle that. So yeah, I was looking at that too, BZ. Like you do have Derek Hill in place, and you claimed him with like a week to go in the season, so there had to be some purpose with that, right? Who the fuck's claiming a guy randomly when you're like a 60-win team? So yeah, and then they went and gave him some money in arbitration. So I guess maybe that is the guy. It's a little unsettling, like to move on, in my opinion, because the team was already thin last year, and when they had that nice heater during the summer, you saw like when Luis got hurt, it weakened them a little bit, and then when if Tauchman's out of the lineup, then you start looking at the lineup. This lineup stinks now. Like you lost two major hitters, like this lineup's horrible all of a sudden.
It gets bad pretty fast when you've got a couple of guys that hit the IL, but that's just where we're at, man. That's just where we're at. And it's Luis was great on the bases, great in the field, but he's only mashing lefties. If there's a righty on the mound, he was pretty much useless at the plate. And that's what we need more than anything. We need some scoring. We need some runs.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Let's jump over a little bit to a few randomized topics here. I know you don't like the fake prospect gurus, but we need to get into a little bit of this. Are you a man who's going to be terrified of losing any of the White Sox Rule 5 eligible Sox farmhands that didn't get put on the 40-man? Do you have a Jake Peter this year? Do you have someone that you're outraged was not on the 40-man and is going to get picked in a Rule 5? Are you okay with any of these guys going?
Absolutely the fuck not. I don't care. Take Peyton Pallette or fucking Mason Adams. Go for it, man. Go for it. These are like future fifth starters, okay? Like we've got plenty of guys like that. Every team's got plenty of guys like that. That's why they're in the Rule 5 draft.
That's right.
So yeah, man, no, I don't care. I mean, the Rule 5 draft is, everybody's perception has kind of changed because of Shane Smith, because of Mike Vassell. People are really, scouting the guys who are going to be available for the first pick. And it's like, my entire life, it's just been teams shuffling shit. Like we shovel shit this way, you shovel shit that way. And it doesn't really matter. Once in a while, a guy sticks, and once in a generation, a guy's an all-star like Shane Smith. So whatever.
Yeah, the White Sox got 20 years worth of good luck in the Rule 5 this last year by getting Shane Smith. And then also Mike Vassell, who was a Rule 5 guy as well, that they traded for. Like, this shit is just not going to – whoever they pick second, just assume they're going to have to send that motherfucker back to his original team before the season starts. Like, that is what I'm envisioning is going to probably happen here with the Rule 5 draft. Yeah, I think over the years, I'm going to credit myself and Treasy. We have bullied Sox Twitter for the last 8 years. Since 2018-ish, we started bullying everyone on Sox Twitter about getting outraged about leaving some guys unprotected. And it started with Jake Peter, and that's why I always bring him up. And I think over the years, we've bullied people enough where they don't get as excited about the shit anymore. You'll see a little bit of stuff or whatever, but not anymore. I think we've done if we've done that one service, Treasy and I, we've bullied these groups. So, but I'm with you, Bez. I don't give a fuck who they take. I mean, like, I was not surprised they protected Tanner McDougal. He had a great year in the minors. Looks like he's probably on the short track to being up here in Chicago. Duncan Davitt, to me, just seemed like the healthy guy who could make some starts. Great. Protect him. We put him on there. The rest of it, if these guys couldn't have cracked last year's bullpen, well, I don't care. Like, you could have beat out those bums. That's fine. Just someone else could take you.
Yeah, we're flying through the waiver wire looking for guys that aren't you.
Exactly.
So, sorry, guys.
It's tough. It's a tough spot. The White Sox, in a surprising move to some, non-tendered Mike Tauchman. Did it surprise you, Bez, that they told Tauchman to take a walk and didn't pay him his arb raise?
It did surprise me a little bit. I expected them to pick it up. They don't have another right fielder. When they did it, I don't know if they had traded for Pereira at that point. I think they did. Yeah, and I guess when I saw them make that move, I didn't think this was, this should signal the end of the Mike Tauchman era. So I wasn't surprised, I was a little bit surprised, but when you look at it and you see all the injuries, he's 35, $3.5 million. I could see them, I could see why they balked at that and said, this isn't going to happen. We're going to explore other things. And they should be giving a guy like Pereira a shot to see if there's any untapped potential there. And, maybe, what's Tauchman's market? I mean, with all the injuries and his age, he plays 100 games a year. A contender's not going to want him.
Right.
He might just end up having to take a minor league deal with a non-roster invite or like a really cheap MLB deal. So who knows? He could be back with the Sox.
True.
But
true.
But I wasn't upset about it because I get it. It makes sense. I was a little surprised.
I think for the long-term planning wise, giving those plate appearances to someone with more upside, more long-term sustainability makes a ton of sense. So stepping away from it and being cold and analyzing it, I was like, okay, that's fine. But the fan in me, the homer in me, knows I'm going to be sitting my ass in those seats 70 games a year. And there might be some scrub up there in Mike Tauchman's place instead of his 356 on base and 383 plate appearances last year. And I don't see how the White Sox are currently going to replace that. They don't have an incumbent who's going to pop up and say, okay, I'm going to give you 350 on base for 400 plate appearances. And so I'm a little terrified of it only because the ecosystem on offense is so fragile, man. Like, I don't know. I'm scared. One slump and that offense is no good anymore because we don't have the veteran bats. So do you think they're going to go out there and actually solidify the spot with someone who can maybe replace some of that or not?
I mean, there's not really much out there that makes sense for the Sox. I mean, Austin Hayes or Mike Yastrzemski are some names that got thrown around. I think those guys go to contenders. They're good enough to play for contenders. Rob Refsnyder, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that that's any better. But I'm with you. You got to find a way to replace that on base percentage. But they kind of went the other route with Pereira and just said, let's get a guy who, he
Rip it and rip it, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Let's see if he can hit some nukes. So I think, they're just really, I get it. It is kind of scary because they're all just betting on all of these guys just improving from year one to year two.
Right, exactly. And And that, in theory, that would be the entire step, right? You go from a 60-win team, and we know there's a little bit of, they had some bad luck, basically. Their Pythag record, their third order stuff had them as a team with more wins than that, butting up closer to 70 than it is actually 60. And so, yeah, you're hoping maybe the luck, maybe you're a better defensive team. Right. But the offensive side just does scare me a little bit, and I hope that they pay some attention to it and at least add one veteran bat in here, or find some way to keep Andrew Benintendi upright and hitting. So, and maybe keep his glove out of the field so it doesn't hurt us so much.
Maybe, I mean, Getz kind of alluded to that at one point in the offseason, talking about his Achilles tendon being messed up, and maybe that means, or I'm reading too far into it, that he's going to DH more, which he should. Yeah. He should DH more.
Yeah, I mean, that's his position at this point. He's just not a good left fielder at this point. He's never had an arm, so his other positions are off.
He's Andrew Vaughn basically out there.
He basically is. Sad to say.
Sadly.
Now, we touched on it a little bit, BZ. Did it surprise you that Getz prioritized Everson Pereira in a trade? And the reason why I bring this up is because, as we talked about, it's the opposite of what he had been accumulating. He'd been accumulating a lot of these guys that control the strike zone well. Back control is on point. This guy is a guy with a lot of speed, a ton of power, but he's grip it and rip it. He's 29, 30% K rate in some minors. I think in the major leagues, he's above that. He's just been like a humongous strikeout rate and his unlimited cups of coffee in the majors. Were you shocked that they went in this direction and just said, hey, we're gonna prioritize this? Because that's really the trade that they made of any oomph in the offseason so far.
Right. Yeah, no, it was I would have been shocked if you told me, or if it's, we traded for this guy because we're letting Tauchman go and we're replacing Tauchman with this guy. I'm like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting whatsoever. But I don't know. Maybe they're going towards a different approach. I mean, like you said, this guy's got speed. I think I saw something about him being really solid defensively, right?
Yeah, I read that as well.
So it looks like that is kind of more the focus, is improving defensively. That's going to help your pitching staff. Hopefully these guys the starters can get more innings. We didn't have one guy that pitched 155 innings last year, right? And that helps your bullpen. So maybe that's the route of improvement that they're going for. I hope. I hope because it's weird. I did think he had a type with patient on base percent, like Joshua Palacios. I don't think he could catch a beach ball if you threw it to him, but he knew how to get on base.
Correct. Yes.
And hit right-handers, or get on base against right-handers. He couldn't really hit.
Yeah.
He could walk. So, and Matt Tice was another guy. But anyways,
it's a similar mold as Curtis Mead. It's a similar mold as Miguel Vargas. It's kind of like those were the guys. Yeah. Oh, Trey brings up in the comment. Ryan Noda is another example of like that type of guy. Yeah, it's interesting to see. One thing I heard Getz say, let me throw this at you and see what you think about this. He mentioned Pereira hits lefties well. They think he hits lefties well kind of today. Do you think, as of right now, he is currently this roster's Austin Slater while they work him in the cage, while they figure out all the other things they need to do against right-handed pitchers just to get the effectiveness out of him in the current roster when they know that there's substantial things they got to work on against right-handed pitcher?
That is a thought that crossed my mind. Is Hill is our new Michael A. Taylor role, and Pereira is the new Austin Slater. And then you have Benintendi and Luis and White Leary, I guess, is your fourth or fifth outfielder. So I'm thinking maybe that's that has crossed my mind. So yeah, I think Slater was a little more patient at the plate as far as like on base percentage. I'm not looking at it right now, but that makes a lot of sense. I liked that approach that they took last year in building some depth in the outfield, because before it was like we got three real outfielders and then throw a first baseman or DH out there in the corner. Fuck it.
Bring up Oscar Colas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bring up Oscar Colas.
Stupid shit.
My God. But yeah, if that's the route they're going, I'm cool with that. But again, it's just you know, you're pushing all your chips in the table for the offense on players just improving.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it looks like at this point. I mean, it's almost lining up, and I hate to say it, that White Lurie would be the strong side of the platoon in right field, and then Pereira would be the weak side of the platoon in right field. And if you look at like White Lurie's second half stats, Baldwin's second half stats against righties, it's not that crazy of a thought process. He actually did hit and slugged like a mother in the second half against righties. Like he played well. I don't know if they're going to go, like, they've been grooming him the whole time to be the super utility guy. I don't know if they would say, well, fine, we're going to give you 3 months to play right field just against righties and we'll see what happens. He's a bigger kid than he looks too. So like, if that shot out of the cannon here and he became a strong side platoon in right field, like that, those are the kind of jumps you need to like make this team good out of nowhere, right? I mean,
that's a huge win. What was he, a 12th round pick? Like most 12th round picks never fucking sniff the big leagues. And if he literally turns into Leury Garcia, you know, just forget about 2022 and 2023, folks. Before that, he was actually pretty good for a bench guy. That's a huge win. You need those guys that come out of nowhere, and you need to find your Brent Rooker. You need to find your or Carlos Quinton if you want a White Sox analogy. You got to find that guy that that comes out of nowhere. That to me tells me that the GM actually knows what he's doing when he's playing in the kiddie pool. It matters though. I know, like
it does.
It matters when you're in a contention window, because then you know those guys fill out the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. These little finds. That's what makes it. That's what kind of pushes you across the edge. That's what when good player X gets hurt and this guy fills in, it's not bottoming out. You have an okay guy there, you know, that kind of thing. BZ, thanks for sharing your thoughts on Anthony K, Luis Robert Jr.'s trade probability and Everson Pereira. Remember, we ain't trying to be right on the show. We're just trying to understand. Anything you want to plug before you go, my friend?
Not really, but check out my blogs if I ever do blog some more on Tap Sportsnet, Sox on Tap. Follow me at Bez Beyond the Pen. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you, Beef.
Love it. Take care, my friend. Good seeing you. We'll have to have a beer soon.
Sounds good. Later, buddy.
Bye-bye. That was BZ, my man. Excellent talking to him. Next week's guest, I'm actually bringing in 2 guests next week. I will have Ken W.O., and I will have P. Knowles in here, and we're going to be having some conversations, some debates, if you will, about certain players on the White Sox roster. The one that I know for sure we're going to be talking about is Grant Taylor versus Mike Vassell. That should be a very fun conversation. Thanks to Punky's Pizza and Pasta and all the 108 families up in the YouTube comments. Appreciate you smashing the like button, comments, and of course, drinks and tips. Thursday is Festivus. We will see you guys then.
Many Christmases ago, I went to buy